Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. And as you are well aware of by now, I am sure, we have got a new Fragment Summon event, fusion type of event going on very soon here in the upcoming week for Pythion, the new Lizardman support. Now, people are very hyped up about this champion and think that it's got potential to be really good because of the kit. So I thought it would be fun to revisit our fusions tier list to try to keep things up to date as best we can. But full disclosure, we need to do some testing with this champion. We need to see the base stats and some of the other relevant information around really getting a more accurate representation of a grade. But for fun, let's try and predict where this champion may end up on the fusions tier list and then revisit it and move some stuff around and talk about where it sits right now. So let's get into it. Alrighty, now first of all, the reason I say this champion is pretty hyped up is you may have noticed by now, if you're an active viewer on the channel, that over on the community tab we've had a poll up that's gotten a few thousand votes asking for first impressions of Pythion's kit, just the best we can, knowing what we know, and we are getting an exactly 90% positivity vote, 61 plus 29, and only not about 9%. The YouTube kind of rounds the decimals, so it doesn't always add up perfectly to 100, but about 90% of the player base is pretty hyped up and thinks that this fusion has a lot of potential, which is exceedingly rare. I've done a lot of polling over the years, and usually the positivity rate for an upcoming fusion is somewhere around like 60, 70, maybe 80% if it's someone like Helikath or Brogni. So then let's transition to pulling up the actual fusions tier list. By the way, I will link to this down below. We try to update this as a team and all give input and do our best to come up with some sort of consensus. I pull this up all the time when I'm live streaming to let viewers give their input and everything. So it isn't necessarily my tier list. It's me doing the best I can to kind of represent a consensus on it. It's never gonna be perfect. It's always gonna be a little bit off depending on who you ask, but I am at least trying to get some sort of consensus in ranking these champions. And also I have swapped it recently from going like S, A, B, C, D, F to just numerically ranking them 1 through 43. So you'll see that each tier has 10 champions in it, and that represents 1 through 10, 11 through 20, etc., all the way down to the 43rd ranked fusion champion right now in Pixneal. Now, the reason that I did it like that is because this is not in the context of the game as a whole. So it's really hard to put them in tiers, because theoretically, if Plarium always did god tier champions as fusions, they could all be S tier, you know, because it's just a segment of the game in fusions and not the entire thing. So that's why I'm just going to numerically rank them from 1 to 43 as best I can via a consensus. And one of the first things you will notice is that currently I've got Pythion sitting. This is the avatar for Pythion if you don't recognize the new champion. So the upcoming Fragment event that's going to be starting a few days from now on the upcoming Thursday, this is the avatar here for that new champion in Pythion. Now, I've got him at number 3 currently. We can tell by his kit that unless there is some sort of tragedy in his base stats, like if he's got a 91 base speed and he's got squishy HP and defense or something, then obviously he's gonna slide down the board a lot. But without some wild outlier of base stats or something crazy going on, he is probably going to be a very, very highly ranked champion on the fusions list and one of the best ones we've ever seen. And one of the reasons that we can predict this a little bit more accurately than you would typically expect is you get a lot of people talking about like, oh, we don't know his multipliers yet, we have no idea. Well, the thing with him is he is a support champion, which you can see if I pull it up here on the top right, a support champion, and you don't even need the text there. You can tell just by the structure of the kit that he is going to be a support champion with the reviving and all of that. So his value as a champion in raid is not going to be tied in any way really to the damage that he can output. He's not like a Trunda or a Rotos or a Herndig or some sort of damage dealer where you need to know their ability to crank out damage before you assess their value. We don't really need to do that with Pythion. But then also, some people I've talked to, you know, other people in the team and people from live streams and stuff and comment sections and just getting input on the champion. A lot of people feel that Pythion should already be #1, just based on the kit. It's going to be one of the strongest things we've seen in a fusion. I don't want to put him at #1 until we do some testing. Like, if I'm going to place someone at #1, I want to at least confirm it and get some people playing with him on the test server and get some public knowledge out there about this champion before we slot him to literally the #1 spot. But I do currently have him ranked very high, and I expect him to, at the worst, settle somewhere here in this top 10. Even if something goes not according to plan, I would expect him to at least be kind of like over here above Torment. But he could go anywhere from like the 8 spot to the #1 spot. But like I said, for now, we'll kind of settle him right here behind Helicath and Brogni, who most people kind of regard as the gold standard for Fusion champions and what they bring to the game. Then for the other stuff, so there's been a little bit of shift on some of these. I did bump up Vergamkar and Killian recently here in the, I can pull up my pen actually. So I did bump up Vergamkar and Killian. They notably got some buffs recently. Tila did as well. People were a little bit more hyped up for the Tila buffs, but Tila is not on this list as Tila was not a Fusion event. Then, you know, the bottom has stayed mostly stable with like Pixneo, just because she takes so many books and just isn't impactful enough. Nothing else really changed radically. I did move Nari up a little bit. I've had some people bring to my attention to kind of take a deeper look into some of the value that he brings to the game. So he's come up somewhere from around, you know, here in the Ryzen tier. He has slid up a pretty decent amount of spots the last couple weeks or so. And then also Bivald is another one that has slid up the board from somewhere down here to up here. A lot of people kind of bring it to my attention that we've been underrating Bivald, so I went in there, tested him a little bit more, played around with it, and I agree. So we moved Bivald up the board a lot, but everything else besides that is mostly pretty stable. You can see Nishok, the latest Fusion right here, very, very highly ranked up. Most people thinking he's definitely a top 10. Many people thinking he's a top 5 Fusion they've ever done, getting a lot of value out of him versus Bommel or versus the Dragon or versus Iron Twins. I actually saved about 40 seconds on my Iron Twins team by fitting a Nishok into there. So a really cool champion that does a lot of cool things in the game, ranking very high as well. And it's also kind of good that we're getting some hyped up Fusions recently, because we did hit a spot there where we didn't have a whole lot of hyped up ones, like with a Pardon, Marinix, Karato, or sorry, I messed up the names. Rorik, and then this is a Pardon over here. And then what are some of the other recent ones? Lonathero, I did bump up his value a little bit because he does have the ally attack, which can help him Bommel, and people are finding a little bit more value out of him. Mora Game was pretty solid. Walking to, I mean, I guess we've had some decent ones recently. People are warming up to Mother Sibylle. She's been increasing in value. Gaius was a good one, so I guess it's been a decent blend. They've been doing a pretty good job of kind of mixing it up with some upper tier ones with Uko and Nishok, and now this new one and Gaius, and then they've had some other ones that people aren't as hyped up about. But also, always let me know down below what you think, because I really try to do my best to soak up as many opinions as I can from not only content creators but the community as well, and then try to lay it out on paper. Being somebody who's been here since day one covering Raid, I'm never going to be perfect, but I try to represent some sort of a consensus how people feel. So those of you that take time to let me know down in the comment sections, that does help a lot to give me more information to kind of base this stuff off of. So yeah, get ready for the Fusion starting on Thursday. It is probably going to be a pretty hyped up one that a lot of people are going to want to try and finish, and I will do my best here on the channel to help you finish the Fusion and complete it, keep you in the loop on a daily basis on what you need to get done, so you don't miss out on falling behind for what you need to do, for what you're going to need to do to acquire some of the fragments for Pythion. But I am going to get out of here. Have a great rest of your weekend here on a Sunday, and remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.